Alright guys, what we're working on today is nameplates. And we're going to show you how that's done. There you go. That's the removal and the finished nameplate. What we have for this nameplate is we have a 0.5 millimeter thick, half a millimeter, excuse me, half of a millimeter thick aluminum that we powder coated black, and then we cut back into the aluminum with the engraving. I'm going to show you how it's done using this small at home CNC machine. We start off with this right here. Good old standard, regular old masking tape. This is really one of the main tools for keeping things down. And by the way, we have air here. The air can go off for just a moment. Let's do that. There you go. Air is off. And as we do this work, it's much better to have the air off. Excuse me. And I'm only lining the tape up as straight as I can right here with existing runs, and that's kind of a, you'll see what it is, but it's basically a line of, it's a line of previous residue. So, next item. What creates the residue is this right here, Super 77. Now, I'm going to try and keep from getting Super 77 all over this bit. Not a huge deal, but definitely going to do it. And the second thing is it's applied to two surfaces. It's applied to the back of this, right here, and it's applied to this surface here. So I'm going to reach in there, give it a spray, and then immediately wipe it around with my finger. So I get it on the surface, put my finger here to block it. We out. I knew we were getting to be out soon. Yep, bought a new one. You guys, I bought a new one. Knew it would be out. Knew we would be out soon. Didn't know it would be in the video. But yeah, here we go. New container. Has like a. Looks like it has a. Jesus, looks like it has a broken. That's lame. Seems to spray all right. Okay, here we go. Finger and spray. There we go. And wipe it around so it's real thin. Keep it real thin. Yeah, you get it on your finger, but I got a solution for that. And don't worry, keep the tool dirty because we're going to do this a second time. Just don't go touching that aluminum right there and getting in a bunch of stuff all over your finger. Use it again. You can use this other finger right here to push the trigger, okay? And you're just going to apply a very, very small amount, like that, and then rub it around with your finger, okay? To all the edges, all the corners, so it all sticks flat. It starts to get sticky feeling. Now you can just leave it right here upside down. You want to put it right here upside down. For a second, and I'm going to clean my finger off. Now I'm going to do that with right here. We got this. There we go. I'll show you on this camera too. Goo gone. You just spray a little bit on your finger, rub it around, rub it onto all the fingers. It's going to go all over your whole hand. That little drop is going to spread everywhere. And nothing sticky is going to be on your hands anymore. And it's going to be real nice. It's going to keep you from getting sticky stuff all over your hand, all over the product in a second here. And you'll want to dry your hands off. I have towels for that. Okay, so hand is clean. Should have wiped this with my finger first. That's weird that it came like that. It came broken. I'm gonna probably go return it because the thing is broken. There's a piece of plastic stuck in there, so it's not like I can just. Yeah, it's just messed up. Feels like it doesn't fully press correctly. Now I don't usually press it all the way, but hey, things happen. So where are we at here? We're at everything's as sticky as hell. So let's get it put together. So I kind of look at it. Usually I kind of give it a peek. I'm like, what's the most square? Where's the most square? You know, I kind of give it a look. I'm like, this one kind of has a look to it, but it's fine. So I'll just give it to the bottom surface straightness. And there we are. Press it down like this. Go for the whole piece, pressing it, pressing it, pressing it. My skin. Powder coating's pretty durable here. Okay, it's in the spot. Now, it's to the program. The program is also recording in the other room. And so what it is we're using Inventable's easel, and we're going to use the Carve feature. And what am I going to keep buying this and using this? I don't know. Am I going to export all the G code and do it on my other system? Yes, that's probably what I'll do. After I do all these, I'll just do one to see if excuse me, the exported code matches. There's a reason I'm called Idiot Burns. I don't have the best couth and the practice the best manners, whatever. So we got this device set up. We already ran this 4 times. The first time we ran it, it was a little bit shallow for my taste, but fine quality. So I just touched it down like 0.05, a half. What was that? Sorry, a 5/100ths of a millimeter. So not much. We have the settings. The Carve is picking for us, but the bit we have is I found these on Amazon, and they are. Let me put them in here where you guys can really see them. Here they are. It's a collection of a bunch of different bits. You can see them, right? I'll open this so you can see them even better. See these? Let's see if you can see them better. Maybe not. Yeah. Here you go. See these different bits? All these different bits. And it's a very good price. And so far, tips have been staying nice. I'm looking at these with the loop when I'm done. And they're looking real good. So I'm enjoying the set. I can put a link to where I got these. So for anybody who wants them. See, they work real well. Real durable. Could I be doing this with a different bit? I don't know. But I've been testing different bits from with this kit and taking the best one for the job. This is a 30-degree bit. And as you can see, it's got a lot of flutes to it, and it just seems to do a good job. I like how it does it. Maybe it's nastier than it needs to be, the finished product, but I like that kind of rough feel. So here we go. Here goes nothing. This is a pretty simple feature, but I'm going to show you a little bit about what this program does and how it works. Okay, so what this program does and how it works is you have 2 areas. This area here shows your product, your material, your let me get this shit out of here. Shows your desired piece, right? This is, for me, just this material right here, right? It's showing it as aluminum, and it is aluminum, okay? That's the overall speeds that we want to work on this at. The powder coat on top is not stronger than the aluminum, but it is durable, and it is about its strength. It's a plastic, and so if we're going to be doing aluminum, we're going to go slower than we would in plastic. The settings are pretty negligible, and that's why you do tests. You have a couple scrap pieces of this, and you do engraving in it, and you see if it works. Certain powder coats might not respond the same, so don't trust everything I'm saying here. I'm using the East Coat powder coat. It's a flat black. Okay, so what we got here is one side, this side here, see that little hand? This is the material. And the material, there's 2 elements here. There's the detail of the work, and there's the showing the detail, and there's just showing the work itself. Okay, and then there's this side over here, and this is how you kind of edit. This is like your editing area, right? You can go here and you can highlight a section, and you can change multiple things about it, like where it's positioned, what corner of the guy you're using to position, and or are you using the center of it to position. If you're positioning everything down a center line, then you can know that that X value is in the center of the piece that's 66 centimeter or millimeters long. Is going to be 33 millimeters, and you can set every single thing you made to be centered, or you can work from left to right. There's a lot of ways you can do it. You can resize it to fit all but the outside millimeter, but there's a lot of things you can do in editing here. And then there's a second part of the editing, is this here. It's called the cut. And the cut, in this shape you have two things. The width you can lock down, or you can, so it stays in perspective to how it's designed. So the longer it gets, the wider it gets, or wider it gets, the taller it gets, or whatever you want to call it. And if you unlock it, you can kind of stretch it out. I wanted that text needs to be just a little longer here, but it just can't be taller. And then you can stretch out the text that way. Then you have another section right below it, which is the angle. If you wanted to rotate something or just have it skewed, you can get the angle. Like if it's cursive and you want it skewed in there, you can get it skewed in the middle. So the cursive is like the fender look or whatever, right? That's the angle. Here's an example of that, and this will help me show you something. Is you can set the angle to 25 degrees, right? And then just touch over here and see what it looks like. See, I set that 25 degrees. You see that? And that might be cool if it was in the center and it was the logo. And then you had something here and something there. Okay? But how I have it is not that way on this badge. So I'll set the angle back. I'll show you one more thing. What you have over here in this area is you have two buttons. Simulate, which simulates how long it's going to take to do the procedure of the cut and shows you the paths. And another one called Detailed View. Detailed View. That changes the view over here to show you each cut's depths using graphics. Okay. Now, I'm going to set this back to 0, and the detailed view is going to have to be asked for again after we do that. See, watch. The detailed view goes away. So as you're working, well, that time it came back, but as you're working, sometimes you make enough changes, the detailed view goes away until you ask for it again, so that it doesn't task your system. Another thing you can do is you can set the let's go here. You can set the cut depth. Now this is also two ways you can do it. You can use this slide, which gives you overall approximations of numbers, or you can use exact numbers. You could type in here 0.01 or 0.1 or 1 millimeter, depending, if you're working in wood and you're using a ball, you might want to be engraving with that, larger piece. Then you have another very important feature to look at, because if you don't look at this, it's only going to cut one way, clearing out the area, which is how I have it set for this cut. But there's another way it can be done. You can cut on the path. Let's do a detailed view and generate a detailed view of that. Do you see here how it goes lines around the path? That's kind of cool for this, but I'm afraid it doesn't cut in deep enough and is not clean enough on a powder coated surface, but it does look cool on plain metal, especially after you polish it. That being said, you have cutting on the path, and then two very similar ones cutting inside the path and cutting, which is going to make it a little bit bigger. So if it's small text like this, you would want outside the path, and cutting inside the path, which I believe would be very difficult on something like this. But if it's something that has a here you go, you could do the same thing with an inside and an outside cut. Okay, and that's two little lines spaced apart. Very unique way to do it. Stack them on top of each other. So you copy this, paste it, and do one way, one way the other way. Let's see if I can. No, I'm not gonna fucking do it, but you can do it. You can test it. So I'm doing clearing out the path, and in that mode, it clears this entire channel that this font encompasses out, not the outside, not the inside, but to the line and to the shape and to the form. So for artistic things, that might be the best opportunity, the best way to do it. But for really drawn stuff, maybe you'll find that you can get the time better if you just change the depth or tooling and do the tracing on the line thing. Instead of going and filling out every little line, it's actually going to go just draw it like you're drawing it. So really that comes down to the settings and the graphic. If all the lines are getting fatter and thicker and fatter and thicker, you're going to have that work done. Okay, Carve Pro, that's what we're doing. So we didn't actually change anything. We do have a model here. We can do another thing here and show you one last thing. You go simulate, and now it's going to go and look at all the processes that it needs to do in order to make this piece and tell you an hour and 14 minutes is how long it's going to take to do it. And you can go over here and you can watch how it's going to do it and check to make sure, oh hey, I have a jig right here, a screw or a thing coming down right here, and for some reason it goes straight across right here. You might want to change the way it works one of these areas, and that is in cut settings. Cut settings lets you do things like this. Are you going to go in a motion like this, tracing the shape and doing whatever's the most effective, which is I believe it's called offset, and it just basically these are fill methods, ways of adaptive cutting, right? So yeah, offset, or you have just x-axis, which gives you a real nice look, and just y-axis, which gives you a real nice look. I was looking at what's better for this. I stretch my time out pretty big if I do on the y-axis, but I was thinking to trying one in the end just to see if it's nicer. But if what works, I like to keep what works. I'll improve later. Slow steps. I do have it ramping in instead of vertical in, and a couple of things like that that maybe aren't the best. Okay, and then this is simulating, and this is taking forever to watch. Why would you watch this whole hour and a half? You wouldn't. You wouldn't watch it all. You'd put it at 32 times, and you just watch it real quick and go, okay, yeah, it's doing everything exactly right. And see these red lines? that represents when it lifts off the material. It's showing you the paths and areas where your design isn't, that it travels. Okay? It's traveling between the empty spaces of the U's and the B's and the R's. Obviously, you could have guessed it was going to do that. And then it comes up and it goes, wow, 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 wow. Well, why is it doing that? Only God knows. Okay. I'm at 32 times. It only takes a few seconds to watch it. And you can make sure that if your guy's being held down by clamp pieces from right here, that it doesn't travel across that spot and bust your bit. Okay? Alright. Now that we've gotten all this rigmarole out of the way, we're going to start a carve, okay? Let me just get the settings here. Everything like this. There we go. We're going to start a carve. Here we go. It asks you 5 sections of questions while allowing you to have control of your machine over here. I'm not going to do anything to my machine because I've done this 4 times, like I said, and it works good. And I'm putting the material in the same place every time. Repetition, it gains you perfection. Okay, it's asking, is your material really 0.5 millimeters? Are you going to take it off and check with a caliper? No, but these are all what they are. This is what they are. I bought the material stock. Is it clamped down? Yes, we just did that with glue. Confirm your bit, 30 degrees. 30 degrees. Yes, we have a 30-degree bit. Everything is working correctly. That is at 30 degrees. I don't know, I should take out a measurer, right? What did I touch it very softly? I did. I touched it really softly. Confirming. Now manual. Don't use a probe. Manual. I use manual. You can use a probe if you trust the probe. I like manual. I do it with this. Do you see this? Can you guys see this? This is a very exact tool. And you can see right here, it tells you the value of the thickness of this piece of metal. And if you use the Z tool, the Z probe tool, it might be sitting like this, and that might be enough for when it touches, it's off. And if you're touching it with your hand and putting it down and pressing it down, that might be enough that, watch this, you're getting movement. And in a very precision carve on something, that might be too much movement, okay? So what do? You just, or you forget you're resting your hand too much by the time the measurement comes. So it's taking you 50 seconds to get down here to the freaking thing. So you scoot down, you get real close visually, and then you just scoot it down. You hit the thing, then you change to the smaller setting, or you scoot up one, and you change to the smaller setting, and you scoot down until you just feel it touching this. Then you move up, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full millimeters, and move back to your start spot and get a good hone on your X and Y. Then you go back down those 5 millimeters, and now you know you're 0.05 above the material, and you go down another 0.05. And when you're down that 0.05 from the surface over here, you're ready to say, use the new position. I will not use the new position. I will use the last position because I did that the first time. The second time I fixed it a little bit. It worked perfect. This next time worked the same. Next time worked the same. Let's see if it works the same all times. The very last thing it asks you is turn on your spindle. And then it says, is your spindle on? And yes, it is. Now you can carve. So it isn't going to just drag it around off. Let's begin the carve.